Everybody for me. Yes, so this will be recorded, just to let everybody know. And it will be provided to everybody. Thank you so much for coming out this evening on Thursday. It's a good day, it's a money day. So this is an excellent day to have this conversation where we talk about self love, self care, financial stability, literacy, and everything else like that, how it relates to relationships. So, again, I want to thank everybody for coming through. I know there'll be some people that are trickling in, and that's fine. We just ask that you please remain on mute while the speakers are going. However, during the presentations, you are more than welcome to answer any questions. You can raise your hand or you can put the question in the chat because we will be looking at the chat while it's going through so we can answer any questions therein. Also, there will be 3 giveaways throughout this process as well. You have to be present to win though. So I have a name generator over here. And I have everybody's name that's in so far. So we'll be giving out giveaways throughout the event as well. So I'm really excited again. So that's the welcome. So my name is Brittany, and I'm the founder of Reign Supreme. And I'm actually really excited about this collaboration today because I'm working with Mrs. Moore with Real Bois Talk. Earlier this year in January, I had an in-person session for this exact type of workshop called the Masc, the Dom, the God. This workshop basically specializes in creating a space for masculine-centered women and the women that love them. Because I think it's important to provide a space where there is none, it seems to me, as far as for masculine centered women. So, in having that event or in person event in January, kind of talking to Amber, she suggested that I also do one for Pride Month because I hadn't scheduled one for Pride Month. That's how this was birthed through. This is actually the first virtual event because I wanted to be able to provide this to people who are not just local to the Atlanta or the Chicago or the Miami area where we've been so far, but I want to be able to branch this out. So I'm really excited to collaborate with her today so we can bring this through. We have some amazing speakers that are coming through to talk to you guys about the topic at hand tonight. And again, I just want to kick it over to my co-host so she can talk a little bit about Real Bois Talk and everything.
All right, thank you. Good evening, everyone. My name is Amber Moore. Some of you might even know me as Cupid. I hold a lot of titles or I guess responsibilities in our community on different levels. With Real Bois Talk, Real Bois Talk is a nonprofit organization that is for masculine identified gay females, African American and brown. We are about health disparities and wellness. One of the biggest things that we do every year is called LGBT Greek Weekend. It is our way of celebrating our LGBT sororities and fraternities. Also a way and a platform for Real Bois Talk to be able to talk to those who are in the masculine presenting community, let them know that continue your masculinity, you must take care of your femme body and make sure that your mental health is as strong as it possibly can be. And so we try to give as many resources and have discussions, and this is part of that. So also we have a podcast. I took a little break, bringing it back again. This right here that you all are seeing today will also be on the podcast, which is viewed on Friday, every Friday at 7 through iHeart Radio and 105.7 Phase. And I'll make sure that as we go along, I'll put those links and stuff in the chat for those who want to, go check those out, as well as the LGBT Greek Weekend. We want that to be something that's for everyone to learn about what those Greek fraternities and sororities do a lot for our community. And so that also helps Real Bois Talk as well, get our message out across the country. And I'm excited about this. Please understand, I'm not gonna let Brittany not do more of this. So please let her know what you want her to do. I am definitely gonna be a big fan of hers. I want to support her in any way that I can. So I want everyone else to do the same.
Thank you so much. Yes, so I'm really excited, like I said again, about this collaboration because this is very important to me for several different reasons. The reason why I created Reign Supreme is my best friend, who was masculine centered, just kind of talking to her and the different trials and tribulations that she had to deal with, both in the community and outside the community, as she maneuvered through society and space in the world. Like, there was just a lot of things that she felt like she was kind of alone on, and didn't really get the community that she was looking for. So I thought it was important to kind of create a safe space where I think it's important for people to come together, to be able to talk, to not feel judged and everything else like that, because I think mental health is definitely important across the board. But a lot of people don't really feel like it is through religious reasons or whatever. So I just want to be able to provide something so where that you're less alone and you can be around other people that look like you and feel that sense of community. So that's why Reign Supreme was born. And this particular workshop, the Master Dom, the God, like I said, specializes in working with masculine presenting women and lesbian identified women as well. Okay. So again, thank everybody for coming through. Like I said, I know people will be trickling in. We just ask that you, of course, keep it on mute. However, if you have any questions during the presentation, please feel free to raise your hand, ask the questions. Time permitting, there may be a Q&A. However, please feel free to ask any questions during the presentation, and the presenters will be able to answer them there. You can also ask your questions in the chat if you want to give feedback or make any comments. You can do as well, because we are watching the chat. So just to be aware of that, it's out there. So before we get started and we introduce the presenters, I kind of wanted to do a breathing exercise with everyone, just so we can remain present, and be in a relaxed state as we go through, because you are going to be hit with some information, and this information may trigger some things for you. So we want to make sure that you're in a comfortable mindset, open mindset, and it's open receptive. So if everybody could just take this time, I want you to kind of close your eyes, firmly plant your feet in your seats or wherever you're seating. And then if you could just kind of relax your shoulders. I want you to take a deep breath in. And when you're taking that deep breath in, I want you to count to the number 9. Once you get to 9, hold it for 3. And then you're going to release it for 9. We're going to do that 3 times, okay? So we're going to start off. So ready? 1, 2, 3. Breathe in through your nose. Count to 9. Hold it for 3. Breathe out through your mouth, counting to 9. I'll have you do it again. Breathe in through your nose. Hold it for 3. And then breathe out through your mouth for 9. All right, and this is going to be the last one. So really big, deep breath. Pull it up for in through your nose. Hold for 3. And then let it out through your mouth for 9. How does everybody feel? Shake it off a little bit. Feel good? All right. Good. So we are going to go ahead and start. So we're going to start with our first presenter, which I'm really super excited about. So I found this individual on TikTok, because I'm always forever on TikTok scrolling through. Like, I'll be sharing TikTok reels with everybody, and I know I've shared like 10,000 of her TikToks so far with different people. So I'm really excited to have her. So we have JT from King Capital is going to be talking to us, and giving us some great information. So I'm going to have her start. So please, you have the floor to do your introduction.
Oh, how y'all doing tonight? Can everybody hear me? Let me know if y'all can hear me. We good? All right, cool. So first of all, I want to thank you guys for having me tonight. I very much appreciate you guys being here to listen to me. I'm glad you did a moment of breathing, because I've been going all day since 7 a.m. And if there's one thing I want y'all to learn from me tonight, is that I'm the type of person that has found the way to calm my anxiety is through breathing and just being in silence at a specific time of the day, whenever that is. In my experience, it's very important for us to take at least 10 minutes out of our day to just chill, let our minds just release all of the noisiness and busyness. Okay. I don't want to get spiritual or philosophical here, but that has worked wonders for my trauma and my anxiety, if nothing else. Okay. So with that being said, my name is Jillian Torre. Everybody calls me JT, so that's why she introduced me as such. I am a music artist here in Houston, and I'm also an investor. I've worked in the financial services. So when Brittany told me that she was interested in hosting a wellness event, I was like, shoot, sign me up, because people don't understand until it's too late how crucial managing money and having goals, monetary and financial goals as a couple, especially, or as a family, how important it is to plan that out together and make sure we're all on the same page. Because money is obviously a vital part of our existence. It's a very important part of what drives our decisions in life. And so how well we do that starts with how balanced we are internally, how sound we are in mind, and how we bring ourselves to a situation with that involves other people, right? So if we can't figure ourselves out financially, or calm ourselves down spiritually, or control ourselves emotionally, why would we expect that we'd be able to do that in relation to other people? Okay. So really think about that. How do I show up? Okay. How do I bring myself to my work situation? Who am I when I bring myself to my children? Who am I when I bring myself into a relationship? Okay. I have kids. So I have a 17-year-old son, and my daughter just turned 16. Okay. So if you think about, I'm assuming a lot of you guys are my age, right? We've grown up in these communities where we didn't know. Okay, we didn't know. I'm gonna just leave it right there. We didn't know. We didn't know how to act. We didn't know how to control ourselves. We didn't know how to manage money. And so a lot of us end up poor, or we've watched our family struggle with money. We watched our parents struggle with money. So what else can I bring to my children as an example for how to have a sound mind around money? My children watch me every day relate to the women I date, relate to my bank account. What's my relationship with money? When I go to work, I manage a lot of people in the businesses that I work with, okay? And I run my own businesses, so I have some of my own employees. If I come to a problematic situation with at not my best, which is confused in my mind and frustrated, and any little thing could set me off. If I show up as that, guess what? I'm being that example for my kids. I'm being that example for my employees, okay? As a leader, I feel like if you're on this call right now, hands down, you consider yourself to be a leader. And leadership starts with leading myself first, and then being the example for those around me. Can we all agree on that? If I'm wrong, let me know, okay? One thing about me, when I do speeches, I like to give feedback. So at any point in time, y'all ask questions, type it in, or unmute yourself if you need to, because I want to make sure that through this process, I do share things that are pertinent to you guys, and make sure that I do bring the value that you're seeking. I don't want to just be the person to just tell you. Like, yes, I want to bring my perspective, but at any point in time, if you guys have a perspective, it would definitely help me flow this in a manner to where it helps you guys, benefits you guys the most. So let me rewind, because I'm pretty sure it's 6:54. I probably should have started my speech at 7. I'm assuming that the first part of this was supposed to be like my introduction. So I'm kind of like getting off, but I feel y'all's energy right now. I feel what y'all trying to do. So yeah. So let me rewind a little bit. I told you guys I'm a music artist and an investor. I've been doing music for about 11. So I've got like 12, almost 12 albums out on iTunes and all the streaming platforms, right? So I originally started music as a child, more as a release, okay? So like I was going through a lot of stuff, and music was just my way to release all that, right? But as I got older, I realized how much of an investment music can be for me, okay? So there's pretty much two types of people. There's the person that goes to work and gets paid by the hour. And then there's the other person who may have a job and gets paid by the hour, but this other person knows how to benefit financially through assets. Does everyone know what I mean when I say an asset? Is there anyone here that does not know what an asset is? All right, I don't see anybody in the chat, so I'm gonna assume you all guys understand what I mean when I say asset. So when I write a song and I release it into the public, I only have to write and record that song one time. But every time that song is played on the radio, or on YouTube, on Spotify, Amazon, iTunes, whatever, I get paid from that song whether I wake up or sleep all day. So contrast that to me going to work where I only get paid when I'm at work. So if my schedule is from 3 to 9, I'm only getting paid when I'm at work 3 to 9. But I use music as a tool, as an asset, as an investment to get paid for the rest of my life, whether I decide I want to get up and go to work or not. So it's the music is an asset in my financial portfolio that my children will be able to eat off of. Who thinks YouTube isn't going to be around when my kids are 35, 40 years old? Who thinks that Spotify and Amazon, Apple Music isn't going to be around, right? Yeah, it's probably going to be around. People will be listening to music till the end of time. Okay. So that has been my mindset as I have gotten older. Yes, I love music and I enjoy it, but it's even better because I can leave it as a legacy for my children to benefit off of financially. Okay. So that's part one. That's me explaining my whole music thing. Now, I became an investor because back in maybe 2008-ish, I met this semi-pro baseball player. He was a white guy. And he was like, yeah, man, you should buy some gold. The market is doing this and that. And I got some buddies up in New York. They're like throwing a lot of money behind it. And, you know, their families have gotten rich off of it, this and that. He just was trying to explain this to me. And I was like, I don't even know. What are you talking about? Like gold. Why would anyone buy gold except to put around their neck, you know? But I remember being a kid and like my grandparents, I would see them at the computer holding up these paper statements, right? So they would be sitting at the computer after work, you know, maybe once a month, and they'd be just like reading off this statement and talking about this and that. I was like, what is that stuff? And they were like, this is our investments. This is our 401ks. Like our job puts money aside for us in investment accounts. And so that when we get older and we can't work anymore, we'll have that money to pay our bills and stuff. And I remember being like 7, 8 years old, just so fascinated by that concept, but just not understanding. Okay. And so when I met this guy who was telling me to buy gold, my brain started turning. Okay. So I started really getting interested in it. And maybe a month later, I met this Indian guy and he started telling me the same thing. He was like, I'm gonna give you this gold bracelet because I want you to see, I want you to do your research and keep an eye on the price of gold. And so I had made some money off my music. So I was like, okay, I got a couple $100. Let me just figure this out. So I went to like the worst place you could go, which was like a gold dealer, because they're gonna push the price up on you like crazy. Because obviously they know that I don't know what I should be paying for it, right? So long story short, I bought about $1,200 worth of gold in 2009-ish, and I sold it in 2011. And I don't know how much I made. I know it was a couple thousand, but I made enough to start my clothing line to accent my music. And I was like, bro, this is the easiest money I ever made. Why didn't anyone ever tell me about this? I bought an asset. I put it in my safe in my closet and slept on it for maybe 2.5 years. It would have taken me a whole month to make that much money working at my job. And I went to sleep for 2.5 years and made enough to start my clothing line. Okay. So I am a big preacher of understanding how, yes, it's great to have a job. It's nothing wrong with having a job. Do what you love, but learn to put some of that money aside in some kind of avenue that is making you money while you sleep, so that if you ever need it for an emergency, it's there and you didn't have to break it back for it. If you want to retire early or just take a vacation for a couple months, you got it. if you want to plan a big wedding or do something special for your spouse, you got that extra money that you didn't even have to labor for. I don't know if you guys know who Warren Buffett is, but he's one of the most successful investors in the world. And he always says, people stay poor because they don't learn how to make money while they asleep. You cannot be rich until you understand the concept of making money while you sleep. Okay. So my goal here today is to help you guys start brainstorming some ways you can start to set those things up for yourself. And as the leader of yourself and your household, starting to set those things up for yourself so that when you're ready to bring another person into your life, whether they be in a relationship or friends or having kids or whatever, you've got this wealth of knowledge that everyone around you don't even know exists. Y'all cool with that? Can I get some thumbs up in the chat or something? Let me know y'all like fired up, man. Give me some thumbs up. Give me some, there you go. Give me some love, something. Something. Let me know y'all awake. All right. So who is that? Oh, Real Talk Amber. Okay, okay. Cool. Who is that? MJZ. Who is that? Ace. Appreciate y'all. Thumbs up. Let's go. Stephanie, let's go. All right. So I just told y'all about 2 assets that I was into. I also have a book on Amazon. It's called The Billionaire Tomboy. I'll find the link in a little bit and put it in there. But I wrote it back in 2013, and it was basically a compilation of things that I would, like some advice that I would share with some younger stud brothers of mine. If I had to start life over, the book is a compilation of some advice and ideas that I would share with some of my younger stud brothers to help them mitigate some of the risks that I took in life and not make some of the mistakes that I took in life. Okay, so that is on Amazon. It's called The Billionaire Tomboy. Back then I was a DJ, so the author's name on the book is Shawty the Damn DJ. And I think at the bottom of the cover, they do have my real name, which is Jillian Knighton. So if you go on Amazon and you just search The Billionaire Tomboy book, you will be able to find it. So that was my first book, and that is yet another asset that I can make money off of as I sleep. And also my children can eat off of it, you know, when I'm gone. But what's more important is the information in the book that my kids will be able to live off of. You feel me? Like, it's cool that my kids gonna be able to get a check, but golly, if I would have had a mentor growing up that could, you know, someone that close to me, it's Tomboy with the I, Tomboi. Brittany, thank you. Thank you for putting that in there. But just imagine like being able to write a book and leave a book for your nephews, nieces, your kids, or whoever to be able to read as they're getting older, you know, and experiencing things in life. They can open up this book and be like, yo, my auntie, man, she was talking about some real stuff, man. Like, yeah, help. Thank you for saving me the trouble. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, long story short, that's the main reason I wrote that book. Number one, as another asset for income, and number two, as a way to just leave some of my life experience and advice behind for anyone willing to listen. Okay. Now, my second book that I am in the process of writing, for now, I think I'm going to title it The Kings of Leisure. Kings with a Q, so Q-I-N-G. And the name of my finance company is called King Capital, Q-I-N-G. Okay, so King, I'm sure we as masculine lesbians, we know what that means. Okay, so we understand the internal balance of the feminine and masculine, the king and queen that we juggle on a daily basis. Okay, so that's where the name comes from. So yeah, I feel like the direction that the book is going is how everything in life is really related, and things that you learn in one area can be applicable to so many other areas of your life. Okay, so if I'm good with managing my finances, I'm probably pretty good with managing employees. I'm probably good at managing my kids, because a lot of the same, what I've noticed in life is that a lot of the same challenges that we face are so intertwined. Okay, and so for me, the book is just kind of intertwining my experience to where if you're working on one area of yourself, it's able to help you improve in other areas. So like me going to the gym, I go to the gym with my kids. Mainly my son works out with me. He's, 17, looks like a big stud. He just got them genetics and he got all of the testosterone. He ain't had no kids like me, so he don't have to worry about his belly. You know what I'm saying? Like, so anyway, I got a brain fart. Where was I going with that? Every time I talk about my kids, I love them so much. I lose my mind. I'm so proud of them. But anyway, what was I talking about, Brittany? I'm sorry.
You were talking about how basically financial literacy and everything kind of helps in other areas of life.
Yeah.
How, getting on track with one can help with everything else and how
Yeah.
it's intertwined.
So what I was saying was I go to the gym and I mainly work out with my son. And just the strength, the mental barriers that we have to break to lift heavier every time we go into the gym. Like we have to challenge ourselves. So like today we were doing this deadlift exercise for your back. And I kept adding weight. I was like, come on, son, let's try, as long as we don't hurt ourselves, we good. We can keep adding weight. And he got to this weight where he couldn't get it up. And so I was like, okay, stand to the side. I'm gonna show you how to do the move properly so you don't hurt yourself. And he couldn't get it up. And so I was like, okay, I'm gonna help you. Because I know that if I can help you to lift this weight up at least once, next week, you're gonna come in here and it's not gonna be a barrier in your mind. The only reason you can't, I can look at your structure because I have the experience in the gym and as a trainer, and I went through the National Academy of Sports Medicine and I have other licenses, okay, anatomy license things. I know what your body can do, so I wouldn't give you something you couldn't handle. But I know you can't do this right now because you mentally have not, you're not there yet. So I'm saying that to say, what the gym working out consistently has helped me in so many other areas, because me forcing myself to be consistent in the gym and self-correcting myself and challenging myself and holding myself accountable. What other areas of life does that apply to? Obviously, that can apply to how I do my job at work. That can apply to me being consistent with the women I date, showing up for them. That applies to my kids, being a consistent example of making my bed, cleaning my room, doing the laundry, keeping the kitchen clean, keeping the dishes clean, brushing my teeth twice a day. Like, small things. Let me relate this back to why I'm talking about it. This is the book that I'm writing right now. Is how you just challenging yourself in one area, the things you're learning and the challenges that the barriers that you're breaking in your mind help you in all these other areas. Okay. So with that being said, I feel like the second benefit that I want in the book is for you to write your story as well. So so when I've written books, it's been, yes, me sharing my perspective, but I leave a lot of white space in my books so that you can write who you are. Because the last thing you need is someone telling you what to be and what to do. And as lesbians, we know that that's been our hardest struggle. The balance between, do we accept other people's perspective and how strong are we going to be within ourselves to say, this is who I am, accept it. Okay. And so when I write books, I'm gonna leave a lot of space in that book for you to, yes, take in my perspective and see, okay, that makes sense to me. That applies to me. I think you're totally wrong about this. Okay, here's my turn. Let me write what I believe. And so maybe in your mind, you have a barrier of, I don't think I could write a book. A book just seems so challenging for me. I used to think that until I wrote my first book. And so I want this book to be such an empowering project for you that it spills over into other areas of your life. If I give you 10 blank spaces in my book and you're able to write your own story, can you imagine the confidence that it's going to give you? Hopefully, that's my goal. All right, so that leads me into the part 2 of what I wanted to talk about, was that in this book or in this podcast or on my YouTube or on my TikTok, I could tell you, I could have pages of of techniques on how to manage your money and how to grow your money and how to get out of poverty or whatever. How to get a cuter girl so that because she obviously wants a rich guy. That's what everybody thinks women want, a rich guy. I can give you all the steps in the world, but if you can't break the mental barrier, it won't matter. Because you're either not going to try, or you're not going to do it long enough to be consistent enough for it to work, or you're going to try it and something's not going to work and then you're going to give up. So some of y'all probably heard this before. A lot of people talk about this mindset. Your mindset is not right. Yeah. Somebody asked me a question, what do you think about crypto? I think first of all, I think crypto is like anything else. If your mind not right, you're going to lose money. Because you're going to get in at the wrong time. You're not going to understand what you're buying and why you're buying, and it's not going to work. You're going to lose money, and then you're going to say everything's a scam. That's the first thing. But the second thing, what do I think about crypto as an asset? I know that crypto was started with the intentions of getting the government out of our money system, out of our monetary system. And so that's fine as long as crypto and blockchain in general can be something that we can trust more than the government. And in my honest opinion, the systems that we have right now have not been good enough for me to recommend that to my clients, because I know that they just don't understand it and they're going to be upset at me if they lose money. Like, for example, I had a older lady, she's a millionaire, and I helped her open up a crypto account and she bought some crypto. And literally 24 hours later, because she did not set up her password, her double authentication password, it got hacked and all her money was gone. And I'm like, how could, come on, man. Okay, so until the systems, I have some crypto, I own crypto, but it's not like my whole life savings. Like, I just depend on crypto. Like, you have to understand diversification. Okay, so I'll put a little of my savings into crypto. If it works, cool. If not, I won't put in more than I'm willing to lose. So if you put $100 into crypto and you're scared of losing it because your rent's gonna be due, leave it alone. Don't even mess with it. That's just my financial opinion, and I think I should leave it at that, because it's no more complicated than that. Don't put in what you're not willing to lose into any investment. All right, another question. Consistency is definitely key. I began years ago writing a book, but it's not titled, but I have it. Due to inconsistencies, I have not finished it. Who's that, Percy? I hope I'm saying your name right. Yeah, Percy. Just get it done, man. If you need permission, everybody raise your hand, say, Percy, get it done. Give him a high five. Say, get it done. You know what I'm saying? Like, just get it done, man. Get it done. Let's see. All right, cool. So no more questions so far. I hope that I answered that question about crypto.
I actually do have a question, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
And because and this will show my lack of knowledge. What is it? Bitcoin and crypto, are they the same?
Bitcoin and what?
And the crypto coins, are they the same? The same thing?
Yeah. So crypto is a word for an asset class. So we have dollars. Dollars are an asset, an asset class, an asset type. So you have American dollars, you have Mexican dollars, which are pesos, you have Canadian dollars, right? So dollars, and then crypto. So inside of crypto, you have Bitcoin, you have Ethereum, you have Cardano. That's what it is.
Okay. And you're saying basically those are not stable investments. Like, not that the stock market is stable, but it's not as stable as if I were to buy stocks.
Right, because it's
trading.
If you think about it, like, crypto only really came out maybe back in like 2011 was when it really took off. Like, the American dollar has been around for generations, so it hasn't really proven itself over time. Also, I feel like until businesses start being able to accept it more, then people won't use it as much. So until that starts to happen, I'll be more inclined into it. If anything, I'm invested in blockchain itself, which is the technology. So imagine being able to own ATMs versus wanting to own dollars. Like, I own ATMs. I get a transaction fee every time you use my ATM. I get paid. So it's the same thing with blockchain. Like, I'll buy companies that provide the technology, the blockchain technology, the coding in the computer that helps the transactions happen. Okay. And I'll get paid whether it rises or falls in price.
If you don't mind, and I know I said I wasn't gonna say nothing, Brittany, but now I'm on a roll. If you don't mind, you mentioned about the ATMs,
Oh, what?
about having an ATM, that you invested in an ATM.
Mhm.
And so for the people here, we all know we don't have big money, right? I know you mentioned if you have $100, you can invest in that. If you know, to understand it, what are some good things that us here on this call right here, what can we invest in that if I'm only making 35,000 a year or $20,000 a year, I can invest in something that, like you said, when I go to sleep, I bought some gold. You bought gold, you went to bed. Here, now I've made some money. Do you have any suggestions of things that we can start getting our feet wet?
Yeah. Perfect. Great question. So first of all, invest in your mind and yourself. Okay. So whether you need therapy to get all the trauma out the way, just get someone to acknowledge that you've been mistreated, you've been treated wrong. Get that self-care stuff out the way. That's why we're here. So that you can see clearly when opportunities come. Like, I could explain crypto to you all day, but if the things I start to explain to you, you just can't wrap your mind around it, because I've never seen anyone that looks like me be successful and do it, or because my parents always been broke. So what, like, maybe you're not telling this to yourself, but your subconscious mind is telling this to you every day. That's why you haven't figured out what to do. And so hopefully things like this will start to open up your mind so that when you get off this call, what I've just done is planted a seed. Now you know buzzwords to go get more information on. And now once your mind is open, then you can start to listen to videos that maybe you heard a year ago about crypto and it just went over your head. But now, because you've invested in your mindset, you watch that same video a year later, now you know exactly what to do for yourself. So that's a number one. The second thing is I would do is invest in my skills. So like, I've spent the last 3 years just figuring out how can I make more money in the jobs and in the assets that I have. I don't necessarily need to even expand into anything else, because let's say I'm a manager right now, I'm basically a consultant for some companies. Okay. So maybe last year I charged $6,000 for 90 days. How can I invest in that $6,000 in myself so that in a couple of months I can actually charge $10,000 for the same work? Because I can do it better now. You see what I'm saying? So that's the second thing I would tell you guys to do, is to figure out how you can invest in yourself and your skills to be able to increase your income so that when the opportunities come, you can invest. 3 years ago, Bitcoin was a great investment. Today, maybe not so much, but eventually it will be. And do you have enough money to be prepared when that opportunity comes? So let's get your income up so you can be. That's number two. Number three, I'm glad you brought this up because I actually wrote a list of things. Like, especially you guys in couples, you really want to make sure that you have a financial safety net, like the stability. Before you even think about investing, you have to be stable. You have to have like a couple months of your bills paid up in front. Like, I can't sleep at night if my bills aren't paid at least 3 months in advance. I can't sleep at night if I don't have at least 3 months in savings of bills in case COVID happens again, or in case something happens with the clients I have, or something, whatever, like, or the internet goes down and I can't make money off of music. Like, you got, like, that's a part of mental health to me. I really hope y'all get that. Like, that's why a lot of relationships end, because before you got in that relationship, you was already screwing up your money. You just brought the same problem to your relationship. Now y'all both two screwed up people with no money. Like, come on, let's get that together first. 3 months of savings, 3 months of extra bills in case your car get towed or your tooth need to be pulled, whatever. Okay. Start working on your credit. Call your creditors up and be like, hey, look, take $500 today or leave it. Put it on my credit. I don't care. I'm not paying you that. I'm not paying you more than what you did. Come on. You let me loan $1,000 and you want to charge me $2,300 in interest. Okay. Learn to get on the phone and negotiate for yourself. Negotiate your payments, negotiate your interest rates so that you're not throwing money down the drain. You can actually say, look, I got a plan for working on my credit, and I'm gonna pay extra towards this, and I'm gonna put this in savings, And so by next year, I got at least a 700 credit score so that next time I need to go to the bank and borrow some money, I'm not borrowing it at some outrageous price. Let's start there. Black people, lesbians. Okay. And I don't mean to like sound harsh, you know, these are just things that we weren't taught. So once you got that all together, I would say invest in some life insurance or like pay for your burial plots up front or something, especially people with kids like me. Who's gonna take care of your kids if you're not there? Why should it be someone else's financial burden because you didn't leave something for them to bury you and take care of your kids so everyone can grieve while, you know, for at least a couple months before they have to go back to work? When I was in financial services, that was one of the first things I did for all my clients. Let's sit down, let's write out, how much do you make every month? How much can you save? What are your goals? What do you want out of life? How can we protect you? You have to protect yourself first. And in doing that, you're going to learn how to protect your assets. You're going to spot the opportunity for the investments. Okay. So now that we got all that out of the way, let's pretend we got our protection in place. We ready to invest. Let's say I got $1,000 tomorrow I want to invest in. If you were my client, or if I was myself starting over, do not take this as financial advice. Let me disclaimer that right now. This is not financial advice. This is just what I would do based on the research that I have conducted and the experience that I have had in the financial industry. The simplest thing you can do is open up a brokerage account. No, before we do that, before we talk about stocks, let's talk about interest-bearing savings accounts. So let me just type this in here. Interest-bearing account. So if you go to your bank tomorrow and you're like, hey, do you guys offer any interest-bearing accounts? So they're either going to be like, yes, we pay interest on our checking accounts and or we pay interest on our savings account. So when you get your paycheck next week, you got two options. You can sit it in the bank and watch it drain away. Or you can put it in an account that actually pays you for your money sitting there. And that's what an interest bearing, okay? So interest paying or interest, I don't know what the word is right now, but when you're paying interest on your car, you're paying your car note, you're paying off the car balance, but you're also paying them extra money in interest. Why not be the person who has your money in an interest-bearing account that's actually paying you money for sitting your money there? That's one of the easiest investments you can make. So like most people's bank accounts right now, if you go to Chase or something and you put your money in a Chase savings account, they're only going to pay you like maybe 0.1 or 0.3%. So if you put $1,000 in that account, you're only going to make like $1 every month. But you want to get a high interest. So let me put high interest. So like one of my highest interest savings account is called Marcus by Goldman Sachs. It's a Marcus app that I have on my iPhone. And they pay 4.15%. So if I've got 5,000 in that account, you know, I'm making 200 a year just to sit my money there and sleep on it. Start thinking about it like that. Like that's why I do music. That's why I've explained to you I do books, because I want my money sitting in places that's going to pay me whether I'm awake or not. And so an interest-bearing saving account is one of the simplest ways you can start to do that. So let's think about this. That's why people put their money in the stock market. The stock market is just a bank for rich people to put their money and receive interest. Okay, so one of Sam Walton's daughters, so Sam Walton is the founder of Walmart. One of his daughters is the richest people on the Forbes list because all she got to do is put $22 million into some kind of SPY index. And off that $22 million, she can make $2 million just sleeping every couple months because her money is just sitting there earning interest year after year after year, month after month after month, because she has so much money, she can make that much money. Okay. So maybe you don't have $22 million, but if you've got $100, you can start to put in this account every month. Think about how it's going to grow over time if you don't touch it. And the more The more money you start to make from your job or your income or whatever, the more money you can start putting into this account, the faster it grows.
What kind of account did you say?
I
What?
typed it in there. It's called a high interest bearing savings account.
No, the one you just said, something index?
Oh, so the SPY. So that I'm going to get to that in just a second.
Okay.
So y'all want to know exactly what stock to invest in. That's what we're getting at here. Okay. So I have to explain to you. I know I'm finna run out of time, so let me just do this real quickly. Does everyone know what the SPY is? So SPY or the Dow Jones. Everybody know what the Dow Jones is, right? Okay. So the Dow is just it is a stock. Okay. Without being too technical about this, I've never had to explain this. It is like a just think of it as a basket of stocks. Okay. So the Dow Jones only allows companies in that index, in that stock, in that basket, that are the top performing companies at that time. So in the Dow Jones, if you believe Apple is going up, if you believe Tesla is going up, or Google, whatever, instead of buying Google separately and then buying Apple separately and then buy Netflix separately, right? If you got $1,000 and you go try to buy Apple right now, Apple is probably, I don't know the price right now, I could pull up the chart, but Apple's probably like $200 per share. So that means you can only buy maybe 10 to 20 shares with that $1,000. Okay. Instead of doing that, you can buy the basket of stocks by buying the Dow Jones ticker. Can you share my screen right quick? Let me just show y'all how to look up a stock price. Can I share the screen? That's what I need to do?
Yeah, you can share the screen down at the bottom. Just click on share screen and it should allow you. Everybody, if you want to kind of widen it so you can just see her screen, you can change your view at the top right-hand corner to show speaker only. And then that way you'll be able to see her screen better.
I pressed share screen. It says host disabled participant screen sharing.
Oh, okay. So you might have to, Amber, you might have to activate it for us.
Someone just asked about money market accounts. Money market accounts are very expensive and they only pay you about 3%. So normally they have a minimum of $5,000. Go for it if you want to, but I know I can get 4.5% return on my investment as opposed to 3%.
Try sharing now.
I'm sharing now.
To
Yeah,
try.
so try sharing.
So do y'all see my stock chart right here?
No, we're
Not
still.
yet, but I did open it up so you could share.
Oh, I see. Okay, desktop. Was it saying open system print allowed? Yes. Sorry, I never had to do this. I don't know what to do. Okay, I can't figure it out. So for the sake of time, let me just, I don't know. Let me go back to the chat. Okay, so I'm typing this website, tradingview.com. If you go to tradingview.com, you can find the price of Apple or any stock in the world, right? So instead of just buying Apple or just buying Netflix, like I was saying earlier, you can buy a basket of stocks, okay? So Warren Buffett always tells people, just buy the SPY. So there's the Dow Jones and then there's the SPY, okay? There's also the QQQ. So the QQQ is a basket of only technology, the best technology stocks performing. The Dow is I can't remember because I don't trade the Dow. I think the Dow is like utility stocks. So like the best performing, like Johnson & Johnson is in the Dow. There's probably some energy or oil companies in there.
So
Put
I'm sharing
it
my
up.
screen.
Yeah,
So I pulled it up for you so you can kind of talk to it if you just let me know where to go.
cool. So where it says symbol, type in SPY. In the where the hourglass, the magnifying glass is, yeah, SPY. So you see how it says Spider 500? So the SPY, that's what people always talk about on the news, the SPY. The SPY is a basket of the top 500 companies listed on the stock market. So the Dow is the top 30 companies, okay? So the companies in the world, it were basically located in America because the SPY is on the American stock market, right? The Dow consists of the best 30 companies, but the SPY consists of the best 500 companies. So without being too technical about this, you now know more than 80% of people on the earth, because if you can walk in a room and say, oh yeah, the Dow Jones is the top 30 companies in the world and the SPY is the top 500 companies in the world, you sound like a genius. All right, go ahead and click on launch chart. So right now, if you look to the right of your screen in green, it says 436. Yep. So if you want to buy one share of the SPY, you have to spend $436 to buy one share. That means if you only have $1,000, you can only buy 2 shares. So let's say I'm going to pull out my calculator. This is learning how to invest 101. I'm going to take 1,000 and divide it by 436. That means I can only buy 2 shares. Y'all see that? Okay. Now let's say price goes from 436 to 455. Let's say by Christmas time, the SPY is up to 455. I'm going to take 455, which will be my sell price, and subtract that from 436. So I'll have a profit of $19. Okay. I'm going to times that by 2 shares because I bought 2 shares. So I'm going to profit $19 per share. So since I bought 2 shares, I'll have a profit of $38. So not only did I blow my whole $1,000 on one investment, I only made $38. Like, what a waste of time to me, right? So I want you to do this. At the top left, type in where it says SPY, type in SCHG. I know I'm running out of time, but I'm almost done, y'all. Now do the same thing, type on, click that, yeah, just click it. Do y'all see how these candles from left to right, if you look from left to right, don't them candles look the same as they did on the SPY?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that tells me that, first of all, because you don't know this, I have to tell you, the SCHG is just a cheaper version of the SPY. So we call these indexes, or we call them funds or whatever. A fund is another word for a basket of investments, or a basket of companies, or a basket of assets, right? So SCHG is just a cheaper version of the SPY. If you look to your right, what's the price of SCHG right now?
It's $398.
$73.98. So I'm going to take my same $1,000 and divide that by 73. Just say $73. I can buy 13 shares. So let's say it goes up to $77. We're going to take 77 minus 73. That's $4 times our 13 shares. We made twice as much in profit, right? Because we were able to buy more shares. So I know that $52 still sounds like a small amount of money, but think about this long term. Some, like my millionaire friends, I can tell them to go buy SPY because they can afford 1,000 shares of the SPY. But someone who only has a couple hundred to put aside a month, don't it make more sense for you to buy a cheaper version of the same stock that's moving in the same direction? That makes sense? So I just told y'all the secret that companies charge for what I just told y'all. If y'all just take this little bit of what I talked about today and just go search a little bit more, man, I'm telling you right now, just knowing this, you're ahead of 80% of people in the world because they're getting screwed over on fees. They buying stocks that are twice as expensive when if the broker just did a little bit of, if the financial planner just did a little bit of extra homework, they could find cheaper options. That's why I'm not for money market accounts, because they're so expensive and they don't return you a lot. You could just put your money in a savings account that gives you 4%, and then you don't have to buy something as expensive as a money market account. That makes sense. So investing is all about, like, how much can I consistently put into this asset? And then how much is it going to return me over time and how fast? I'm going to type this in right quick. As a couple, this is one of the most important things you guys can learn how to use. It's called an interest calculator. If you just go to Google and you type in interest calculator, you can play around with different numbers. You can say, hey, babe, if we start with $500 in this account, how long will it take us to get to $1 million? And what's the minimum interest rate every year we have to be able to make? Like, what's the minimum interest rate of return that we need to make to get this $500 to be $1 million? So we either need to invest more money each month, or we have to find something that gives us a bigger interest rate. This is why people keep talking about flipping houses and stuff. Like, that's so popular right now. It's like white people have been doing that for years. Like they're not even thinking about, like, they're investing in dentist office right now. And I know that because I get on meetings and calls with people worth $10 million. I know that's hard for some people to believe, but I have people in my phone right now I can call to show you how they make $10 million. They're not doing things that people are doing right now because we just now catching up. And the best way for us to catch up faster is to invest in our skills and our knowledge, so that when the investments opportunities arise, we know how to grasp it. And we're not just following the crowd. We don't need to be following white people. We need to be figuring it out on our fucking own. And we can't do that if we don't come together mentally and work our shit out. I'm so sorry. I'm passionate. I'm yelling and I'm cussing, but like, damn, I'm sick of this shit. High fives to you. High five. All right. So I think I said enough. Y'all be blessed. I really appreciate this opportunity.
Thank you so much for sharing with us. Everybody, does anybody have any questions or anything? We still got a few more minutes. Like 4 or 5. Yeah, about 4 more minutes. If anybody has any questions or anything.
This is Linda. I need contact info.
Yes. So yeah, I was gonna have you do that. So anybody who wants to contact Jillian or want to potentially become a client and she can work with, please let them know where they can find you.
The fastest way to reach me is just on Instagram. Send me a message on Instagram. But I'm everywhere. Like my I got a YouTube, I got a TikTok and all that. But social media does drive me crazy. If you want to just reach out to me, just send me a message on a DM on Instagram and I'll get back to you. That's the fastest way.
Okay. On Instagram. I don't have Instagram. I have the ticket.
You have a website?
I do, but I'm having it rebuilt right now, so I'm literally shutting it down tomorrow. But I'm gonna put my email address in here. King Capital. Well, let me just do my music address. Like, one thing about me, like I like to do business with people in person. So if you send me an email, we're gonna start talking over the phone, because I ain't gonna be doing this email back and forth and all these trying to impress people with websites and all that. I ain't got time for that. And just send me a message and we'll get it going.
Okay, because I have a 401k that I want to roll over into an IRA, and I'm getting ready to retire early and start getting my Social Security retirement. Yeah, that's what I want to do.
Yeah, so I mean, a lot of planners like shit on 401ks, but it's like, if that's all you know, like, ain't nothing wrong with that. You're getting free money. Your boss is matching you and it's getting invested. Like, come on.
No, I want to roll it over because I'm no longer working at that company, and it's just sitting in Fidelity, and I wanted to roll it over to an IRA so I can have more control.
Yeah, make sure you have someone that can help you decide if you need to get a Roth or a regular, because you're going to be taxed differently when you pull it out for sure.
Right. Okay. We'll talk.
Yeah, good luck with it.
All right. So thank you again for sharing with us. You're gonna stay on. I want to give everybody like maybe like 10 minutes if you want to get up and kind of stretch a little bit, get you some water, because water is important. And I'm gonna play some music and then we'll come right back. And then we'll have our favorite gay aunties come and talk to y'all about self-care routines and everything. I'm really excited too. So yeah, we'll be right back in, say about 5-10 minutes.
You put our picture thing up, like picture me. or whatever.
She's
So,
got to give me control.
no,
I'll get you.
yeah, when you make it still, you're not on here.
Also, just so y'all know, the music that we're listening to is actually Jillian's music. So definitely make sure to follow her on all platforms as well. everybody. I know that seemed like a very short 10 minutes. But I wanted to kind of get back started and everything else like that. So while we're waiting on Badori and Linda to come back with us, I wanted to talk again. So we do have some giveaways that we're doing. So I'm really excited about these giveaways. So let me just kind of tell you a little bit about what comes with the giveaway. So because we're doing virtual, and I usually with these events and workshops, I usually have like a kit that I give to everybody, something really personal that you get to keep with some information as well as personal items for yourself. So since we're all virtually, I wanted to do some giveaways for a self-care kit because that's kind of like the basis of what we're talking about this evening is self-care, be it through financial literacy and financial stability, as well as interpersonal relationships and everything. So a couple of things that are in the kit. So there is a self-care kit that kind of tackles total mind, body, and spirit. So we were donated some kind of like some body scrubs and body butters from Kyor Beauty. And you'll be able to pick the fragrance that you like if you're selected as a winner. So we have that going in there. We also have a self-care journal where you'll be able to jot down some things. There's some writing prompts in there to kind of take care of the mind, as well as you'll get a stack of affirmation cards with confirmations. So something for you to keep with that. And then for the spirit aspect of it, you will get a pendant. It's kind of like a copper wrapped pendant. I have one on my neck here. There's some other ones here. You'll get that with a Palo Santo stick, something to kind of cleanse your spirit in the area, as well as a mirror for yourself. And then also what you'll get, which is I'm really excited about, is a Reiki energy session from our upcoming speaker, who is amazing. Her sessions are awesome. And those sessions can be done either locally here in Atlanta, so you can make an appointment with her and be in person, or even if you are here in Atlanta but want to do it virtually, she can do it as well, virtually. So if you win, you're not local to the Atlanta area, you can still utilize this as well. So I got this up here because I did a random name generator just so that it's not on me. So whoever wins, it's up to the universe at this point. So I'm going to go ahead and choose our first winner and see who we got. There'll be 3 of these. So this is just the first one. So we see who went first. So it looks like Cognizant is our first winner. So excited about that. So before you leave today, I just need to get your email. If you could put it in the chat, that way I can reach out to you. And I'll be able to mail you, send you in the mail your actual, or if you're local to Atlanta, I could meet you somewhere and bring you your materials, and then also to provide that information. So they'll do that one. So Cognizant, you're the first one. And then I'm gonna go ahead and we're gonna wait to the end to do the last 2. But I wanted to go ahead and do this while we were waiting. So if you're ready, Badori and Linda, we can move on to the next if you're okay.
Okay, greetings all, peace and blessings. All right, waiting for the slides to come up. Hold on just a moment.
Okay, it's on speaker. There we go. Okay.
All right. Okay. Can everybody hear me? You hear me? Okay. Wonderful. Thank you so much, Brittany, for having us here. We are excited, just like our last one we had. We were totally excited. It was a great session, and so I know this one will be as well. So, just quick introduction. I'm Badori Oyana. I am a spiritual advisor I'm a Reiki master teacher, ordained metaphysical minister. I am a holistic esthetician, so I do quite a bit. And this is my lovely spouse, wife, husband, all that good stuff, right? We have all the names, all the names. So what we are bringing you today is a workshop that we did on Let's Work It Out, healing ritual for Black queer partnerships. And so we're going to begin with talking about being in partnerships together. So, like the queer community doesn't really have a lot of role models to be able to, look at and to be able to, distinguish what kind of, relationship or, how we are supposed to go about relationship. A lot of times there's a lot of roles, different roles, and people have, their expectations of different things. But in this particular workshop, we talk about emotional health. We speak on healthy boundaries in a relationship and, how to navigate when you need to be heard, but also need to make sure that you are feeling and are, what can I say, compassionate and hearing your partner's heart, basically, okay? We are not mental health professionals, although when I sit down with somebody and I'm having a spiritual session with them, I tell them that mental health is important, especially around behaviors that involve trauma. Okay, so a lot of our behaviors are sometimes behaviors that have been groomed, things that we've been groomed to believe, and things that we are, just things that we need to unlearn. Okay, so Linda and I, we called her Ayla Omi, and I actually have been together for almost 14 years. 14 years, 14 fast years. It seems like it's been so quick. And we decided that when we got together, we were going to take this journey together of healing. That we did a lot of work outside our relationship on ourselves, and then when we got together, we had an opportunity to experience all the things that we said we didn't want and the things that came up for us and the things that we really desired. Okay, so there's things that you want, and then there's things that you truly, your heart desires. Okay, so this is a little short introduction of Let's Work It Out. So thank you. I am not technically inclined at all, so y'all just bear with me, okay? So in relationships, it's expected that there are going to be disagreements, difference of opinion, even some, just old-fashioned, straight-out arguments, okay? People never have a disagreement. People who have never have a disagreement with their partners, or either, holding on to energy or not voicing their opinion. So I hear people sometimes say, oh, no, I've never argued with my partner, or I never had a disagreement with my partner. And immediately I begin to think, so like, which one has decided to swallow everything and allow, the other partner to really just take over or not to voice their opinion? So I'm, from that point, I realized that we're dealing with the throat chakra, not being able to truly speak your truth. Okay, because it's important for both partners to be able to sit and to hear, as well as be able to voice their opinions with each other, their opinions, their boundaries, their dreams, everything that, the reason why you actually decided to commit to each other. Okay. So making sure that you are holding space for your partner is very important. So, um, you know, think about that. If you're suppressing opinions, emotions, your choices, those are some things that you really need to allow yourself to be heard. In Reiki sessions, I often feel the energy of people who are holding back or suppressing some things within their aura, which is within their energy. And those things actually show up in the process in that sessions. Okay. And so, I'll say to somebody, your third eye is not open, right? Which is your intuition, which is connected to your intuition. Your third eye is not open because you've been influenced by someone that told you not to speak, or you shouldn't speak, or what you say is not important, or what you say, is not, is not viable, right? So, so that shows up in the energy in their chakra. It also shows up in their heart chakra as well, because it's someone of influence that, didn't believe them or didn't hear them out. So things that occur with us in our childhood are things that actually come up in our adulthood. Okay, lots of things come up from childhood in our adulthood, and we think, okay, this is okay. I did not learn boundaries growing up. I just knew not what not to do. Okay, got that. That was clear. But it wasn't about boundaries. And one thing that I knew was that children never had boundaries. Okay. And what I mean by that is people did not respect children. Okay. And that's a problem. That's a problem. But these new pandemic babies actually already have it set in them to say what they feel, right? So we're changing. Things are changing. Things are transforming. And as adults, as walking into our eldership, into our next level of eldership, it is important that we share with those practical wisdom where they can begin to have a more rich life, right? Mental health is important to take care of the head and the behaviors, but spiritual health is important to nurture the spirit. The spirit being nurtured is extremely important. Okay, so we want to talk more about that. So when that which is suppressed becomes too much, the emotion of suppression can no longer hold it inside, and it will come out, right? Like it will come out as unprocessed thoughts, and it'll also come out as highly toxic energy as well. Okay, so it's important that, you are able to truly speak your truth. This is a time when fight or flight comes into play, because this is concerning of the emotions. It can't be processed. It can't be processed in a healthy way because it's coming up to the surface and it's been suppressed. So, sometimes when we are dealing with issues with not being heard, okay, as a child, not being heard, only being seen. And then, you're thinking all the while that, hearing yourself, your small voice saying you're not important. What you have to say may sound dumb. There's things that we, think about in our head that we play out, in our partnerships. You be surprised how much your inner child is in your relationship, shows up in your relationship, right? The reason why I tell Linda, I said, we've gotten to the point where our inner child, both for our little girls and sometimes her little boy, plays together. Okay. So that's one thing that I know that we have that is really, really good because they play together. All right. And with that play, they're able to relate to each other on a deeper level. Okay. So how many people actually take time to play with their spouse or play with their girlfriends? Take time to play. Nobody playing?
Explain if you don't mind.
Well, play, just, it could be anything. It could be running outside and throwing the ball at each other, or,
Jumping up and down in the rain.
yeah, or dancing. Me and Linda love to dance. We play reggae music. I'm sorry.
That's oh, I was about to say single, but the one person I got my eye on, yeah, like to go to the arcade, lay in the rain, literally lay in the rain and just talk. Like that was like one of the most weirdest but like powerful experiences I had with another human. It was just magic.
Yes.
Beautiful.
Yes, beautiful, beautiful. Right.
I'm gonna go back one page. One of the things that I wanted to express was that last paragraph, our perception of what is joyful and loving that does not have shadows are manufactured illusions. We have to begin to be truthful with ourselves and honest with ourselves to have good emotional health, good mental health, good physical health, and especially good spiritual health. There's, because those shadows are an illusion. You're with your other half and jealousy comes up. That's an illusion.
That's something that you have to dig back within yourself to be able to look at.
To
right?
look at that, you got to figure out where your abandonment start, where your denial starts, and you might have to take some time and look at those shadows. Those are shadows. They're casted. They're not real.
Right. But this is what we were talking about between reality and illusions, right? The shadow parts of us, or our pain body, our ego, and then the divinity of who we are in the light. Okay. When you know yourself, self-awareness is so important. So important. I work with people who don't want to own up to, their responsibilities, or they don't want to own up to, mistakes that they've made, or they don't want to own up to, just stuff that, everyday stuff that's in relationships that are not cool. It's just not cool. We want to make sure that we are sharing this, how important this is, right? So and we all have them. We all have shadows. Everybody has a shadow. Everybody has a shadow. And I tell people sometimes that, being able to alchemize your energy, right, is also important, which helps you to evolve, right? But to alchemize your energy, and what I mean by that is to be able to look at your intentions, to look at why you do what you do. Okay, look at that, right? So it's a whole different, when you take the top off, when you take off that surface layer of, I was just mad, I was just upset, and really begin to take the top off and look a little deeper into your intentions, your expectations, things that you thought, this is what I want, but it really is not, that's important when we're talking about emotional health in partnerships. So when that which is suppressed, okay, we already did that. Okay. So this is a time for couples to decide that they can no longer deal, or the opposite occurs when there's so much disagreed on that there's no joy or love or anything left, right? So what happens is that, you get into an argument, the argument is never resolved. And so then you get into another argument, and then you bring that argument into the present moment in the scenario. It becomes such a buildup. That at some point you lose it, you lose the clarity of the relationship, and you begin to think that this is just the way it is. And instead of using some tools that you can, be able to have that will help you be able to get through some of the things that, you feel like, you lost, right? So that's why this workshop is titled, Let's Work It Out. Let's work it out. Let's begin to do the work, right? Some people say, well, let's work it out. We're going to work it out. How does that look? What is your plan? How do you begin to hold space for each other? How do you begin to forgive? Because I know forgiveness is something that is done sometimes in time. It's can be a layered effect, right? Because, you have to be able to work through it. So how do we begin to learn how to work on healing ourselves while supporting our partners? Okay, so I said work on healing ourselves, not work on healing us together. Okay, we are two individuals. So the first thing we have to learn is, how do I begin to work on healing myself? So I want to be a little transparent here. I had to work on my abandonment issues. That's an issue that I came to this world with, okay? Coming into this world, my father was never present. I have never met my father, and I just discovered some brothers and sisters I've had maybe 2 years ago. I'm 56. So I've seen brothers and sisters, and I was like, okay. So this was that's a whole nother story, but being able to work on my abandonment issues. So when Linda and I met, it was, we were totally infatuated with each other, right? Totally. And then, as we got to know each other, one of the things that I realized was that when we got into an argument or got into a disagreement, she would walk out. She would walk away. And that traumatized me again. Trigger, right? And so I said to her, when you need to process or when you need to leave, I need for you to tell me that you will be back and you're leaving to go process. Now, she didn't know about my abandonment issues. She was like, why do I have to say that? Why is that important? Like, why can't I just leave and go out the door? And I said, because I am triggered. And so one of the things that you have to do when working in your partnership is to talk about things that are triggering to you, so that this way your partner will understand, the reasons why you feel the way you feel. So that's something that we had to work on. You want to talk?
And even those of you that are not booed up, you these are some techniques that you can begin to practice. And healing thyself, you don't need another person. So that way, when you get into relationship, you kind of know yourself, and some of the hard times that hit will be better explained because you understand yourself and you understand your intentions within the relationships. My intention wasn't to, leave out and never come back. I just assumed if I'm going, I don't want to talk no more, and I walk out, you knew what I mean, and no, I have to be clear that I need to go process. This is a little hot conversation and we'll get back to it. I didn't even think that would need to be explained. But it did. And when she told me why, I fell in love with her all the more, because she knew herself, she knew what she needed, and she knew how to explain it to me. And that allowed me to hold space for her in the middle of a disagreement, argument, battle royale. I was able to hold space without judgment, without trying to retaliate. It was like, oh, she kind of tender. She a little tender.
Anyway. So that, so because you don't know a person's full past. Okay. You don't know their full past. You don't know what they have been through, how they have been able to get through. Okay. So that was a lesson in that. One of the things that, and I think I'm gonna let you share that, which is the yellow door. Okay. So Linda will share her experience of the yellow door.
I was working on something on the computer for the business, and Babe was watching and she was behind me. Something happened. I deleted something by mistake or something. And she said, well, that was stupid. I went off. I got so angry. And she was kind of shocked because I had never lost it like that. And she was like, well, what is wrong with you? And I said, you called me stupid. And she said, no, I didn't call you stupid. I'm saying that was stupid, whatever happened, not you. And I was like, well, I'm the one that did it. That means you're, telling me I'm stupid. And we went back and forth for a good while. And eventually we were able to calm down long enough, and Babe held space for me and was able to walk me back to, when I was in kindergarten or the first grade or something. And my door for my classroom was yellow. And I didn't understand that, the red door was for the bad kids, the blue door was for the smart kids, and the yellow door was for the slow kids. And my mom came to get me one day, and we were walking down the hall. She was coming to pick me up from school, and we were walking down the hallway. And I said, that's my classroom, the yellow door for the slow kids. And my mother was like, shut your mouth. You are not stupid. And it kind of shook me, at that early age. So I associate certain things, you know, that trauma with Midori saying what was done was stupid, I guess the computer or whatever. And I took it as her calling me stupid. I went all the way back to kindergarten and was like, don't call me stupid. That was me protecting the, you know, 6-year-old Linda, you know, protecting myself. And that's what she, you know, heard. And she was like, you're protecting yourself. And we talked about it for quite a while. I mean, it was one of them all-nighters, you know, the birds were tweeting. It was a nice experience.
It allowed us to be vulnerable with each other, which is creating intimacy. Intimacy is when you are vulnerable. I know that when we first get together, you know, you want to show your best. And you want to, you know, you want to show them, hey, look, I'm the one, I'm here for you, right? That's fine and well. But when it takes getting vulnerable with your partner in order to really be able to have real intimacy with a person, real intimacy. So because the masks come off, you know, your representative fades. So at some point you have, you know,
What you got left?
You got to take your clothes off. I know you take your clothes off, but you got to take your clothes off. Okay. So that's the journey. That's the journey. It's when you can begin to really feel like you trust someone, you begin to trust them with your energy. And that's where, you know, we begin to really dive into having a healthy relationship. So, so how do we begin to listen and be heard? Right? How do we, you know, how you pay attention? The one thing I'm, I make sure of is that, you know, she hears me and her attention is on me when I desire that attention and that level of vulnerability. And the same thing is for her. It's to sit back. Now, we done been through some knockout dragouts. Okay. We done been through some serious, you know, and have even gotten to the point where we were half-ass playing about leaving each other. Okay, like half it, like we hadn't done that. We hadn't got to that point. We hadn't crossed that threshold. But I feel like it's because we've taken the time to really be able to, you know, begin to know ourselves first, know who we are, what we desire, and, you know, how we desire to be loved and how we desire to love. Okay, so, you know, first you want to acknowledge your energy in the disagreement. So I sit back with myself after sitting. I used to sit and guilt myself. That's not working it out. This is playing victim, or guilt yourself around, oh, I didn't do this right, or I didn't do that right. And so, you know, I feel lowly. It's not that. It's the disagreement helps you to be able to clear some things out that needed to be cleared. Okay. So, and you have to look at the human in the mirror. You have to look at that human in the mirror. You have to look at, what are my intentions? What are my underlying intentions with my relationship or with my partner? How do I feel about them? Okay. So one thing that I know, Linda gets on my nerves just like any other thing that goes on, right? She has, you know, sometimes she kind of pluck my nerves. But the thing I know more than anything is that her heart is pure. Her heart is pure, and I trust that. I trust that. So it takes work to get there. It takes work for us to be really, look at things and to really make sure that, have we talked about this or have we talked about that? So we do a lot of talking. We do a lot of talking. Do we retreat, isolate, or do we force our opinions? You don't want to do that with someone. I watch people all the time, and I'm just real clear about, okay, this is not going to last long, even though it seems that it's not going to last long, because people want to be heard, people want to be loved, and people want vulnerability. They want that with each other. So we must acknowledge the behaviors are present, and when the energy is not in alignment with what we truly desire. Okay, when the energy is not in alignment with what we truly desire. So you're holding on to something that happened, and that's not in alignment with what you truly desire. You truly desire to be in a healthy, loving relationship. But I'm sitting here holding a grudge with her. Okay, so there's some tools that we want to give you to begin to look at it and to begin to work it out, right? So first, creating safe space to express feelings and keeping emotional reactions in check. So safe space, very important. Make sure that, okay, is this a safe space right now? Are you able to listen? Are you able to hear me in this moment? Are we able to share? Okay, so keeping your emotional reactions in check means that, it's not a good thing to just kind of fly off the handle, or, your passion works two ways. Passion can be raging, or passion can be creative. Okay, you don't want that raging passion and anger and energy with it, right? What you want to do is take that and be able to dump that energy somewhere. Go outside. Some people say go outside and scream, or go outside and punch a punching bag, or whatever it is, right? To be able to release that energy from your body. Release that energy from your body. As much as people talk about energy, they don't realize that energy is real. It's very, very real. And so how you begin to, release that energy, you can do it with meditation, okay? But you don't want to do something that you're going to regret later, okay? You don't want to do that. You want to be able to, because I believe we come into divine relationship with each other to help us work on ourselves and help us to heal ourselves. It's one thing to work on yourself and say, I'm, wonderful. But once you get into relationship with somebody, whether it be an organic relationship, organic friendship, a romantic relationship, whatever it is, it's important to make sure that, you are being treated well, and you're also treating a person well. Okay. If you're scared, say you're scared. If you're scared, say you're scared. Say it, right? If you hurt, say you hurt. Speaking our truth while acknowledging our feelings, our emotions, helps us to push past emotional blocks. Helps that, okay? And you become more self-aware. You become more self-aware. And it's so freeing to be self-aware, to know yourself. It's so freeing, right? You don't have to sit around and guess, oh, I hope they like me. I hope this. No, you just show up as you. You just show up fully as you. And so that's one of the tools. The other tool is requesting and allowing your partner space to process. So we talked about that story, right? People are different. Nobody's the same. I used to be like, well, why you can't process right here with me? Why you can't stay here? What's wrong with you? And it's like, no, I need to go off somewhere because I might say something that I'm going to regret later. I said, okay, all right, I get it. So, with my abandonment issues and that I knew I had those. So I had to ask her, but just please just tell me you just going to go and you'll be back, right? That's it. Remembering the heart of your loved one by holding them in the light. You have to remember, even though you have a bad day or a disagreement, sometimes I'll come in, something ain't done or something she said she was going to do that she didn't do. And I was looking forward to it. And I walk in the door and it's not done. And I'm going off in the room. Be mindful. I have to hold her in the light because there's so many beautiful experiences that we've had and so many beautiful things about her that I love. And so holding her in the light keeps me from her, just being in a shadow place, being in a shadow space. Okay. Your feelings are your responsibility. Your feelings are your responsibility. Okay. So when I get offended about something, I got to check me. I have to look at what am I offended by? What is this energy that I'm feeling right now? A lot of times I can link it right back to something that went on when I was a kid, or just
Past
relationships, right? Things that I have that I thought that I healed, because just when you think you healed, Spirit will give you an experience to show you, oh, you think that was one level, that's good. We're going to the next level now. Are you healed? Okay, so that's the next level, right? Each experience is a test, a lesson to say, are you doing the work? Are you doing the work, or you just blaming everybody and you done had 12 lovers and ain't none of them right? Okay, it's easy. At one point, before my beautiful wife came along, and 2 years was my limit. 2 years, you got 2 years, that's it. You's gone, right? So what made me stop at one time, because I told this girl, I was at a party and I said, girl, it's my fiance. She said, another one? I said, oh, this is not good. Right. So you got to hear people too now, because you sometimes you think, oh, people don't pay attention. Oh, yes. Yeah, they do. Yeah, they do. Okay. And when you want somebody else to fix it, right? So your feelings are your responsibility, but people want somebody else to fix it. They want somebody else to fix it. And so, you got to work on that. Acknowledge and experience your behavior in a situation. Start to experience yourself. Become an observer of your own experience. Become an observer. You ever observed yourself and was like, whoa, like, my goodness. Okay. Observe yourself. Observe yourself.
Like, what was I thinking?
Right. Okay. So you can read this now.
On my glasses.
Okay, never mind. So let's work it out. These are therapies and classes that we have. So how to compromise and the 3 C's. So the 3 C's are consciousness, considerate, and compassion. for it to actually work, right? So you have to be conscious, be mindful. I had to be mindful when, you know, we talk, and I'm reminded of the yellow door. I make sure that I'm not saying anything that could be offensive to her. All right. When you know the buttons to push, why you gonna push them? You know, that means you want a response, right? I know the buttons, right? So healthy boundaries and intentional agreements. So having healthy boundaries. Sometimes boundaries have to be looked at, because sometimes, you know, depending on where you are with yourself, sometimes you have to constrict them. You know, if you're going through, let's say, grief, right? And you're in a space, sometimes your boundaries have to be constricted, which means that, you know, you may have to say, babe, just don't, you know, at this point, I don't really want to talk about a lot of things. I'm having a moment. Let me be with myself and not get offended by that. So that's constricting your boundaries. Then sometimes your boundaries are expanded, right? Because now you're in a level energy of trust with your partner. You trust them more, right? So you expand your boundaries with them. Okay. And then there's some people that your boundaries pretty much stay the same because of who they are and who they are to you. Okay. And at this point, I'm 56 and my mom is 83. So my mom is kind of going through some levels of depression and things of that sort because she can't no longer do certain things that she used to. So, you know, she'll say certain things and I have to stop her because the boundaries. I'm like, Mom, we're not going to talk about that. We can't talk about that. So it seems like now I'm kind of constricting her boundaries with me because, you know, she is not in a healthy, well place. Okay. Where am I? Okay. The intimacy and integrity factor. So being integral, right? And having intimacy is very, very important because again, we talked about trust, beginning to trust your partner. And so we'll talk more about that. So this about trust and it's about safety. Big time, keeping you safe. The intimate partnership rituals and relationship journal. So if you're looking, we are spiritual coaches, advisors, having, you know, if you have a partnership and you're kind of looking at, you know, this thing with therapy is good for us, but we're also looking for a little bit more to be more connected spiritually, or how can we nurture each other's spirit, or how can I nurture my own spirit? It's very important to be able to nurture your spirit. I had to unlearn a lot of things. I had to unlearn to stop guilting myself. I had to unlearn, you know, that I am not responsible for other people's feelings about me. This, you know, the list goes on and on and on because we were raised at a different time where it was more about survival than it was about thriving. And so that creates a whole different scenario, you know, in your life. And renegotiating of intimate relationship contracts. So being able to renegotiate, looking at some things and going, that's not working for me. It doesn't work for me, right? So, I mean, we've had partners who have, you know, looked at, you know, poly as, you know, one of the things that they, you know, were thinking about doing, and they had to renegotiate their intimate
had clients.
relationship.
You said we had partners. I was like,
I
you
met
meant clients.
I met clients. Did I say partners? Ooh, okay. No pun intended. That was not. Okay. So clients, right? You know, just to renegotiate their intimate partnership contracts. looking at them, right? Because a lot of times partnerships are assumed. I assume you're going to do this for me, or you assumed I'm going to do this for you, you know,
Expectations.
expectation, unvocalized expectations, you know, those are things that you can get caught up in. And they're like, well, I thought you was going to do blah, 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 blah. Why? And without even being able to sit and talk to me about it, you know? So just because you with this person doesn't mean that you know everything about this person, right? And so those things need to be discussed. So I'm all about, you know, sitting down and having deep rabbit hole conversations, you know? So yeah, that's what we're all about. That's what we're here for. We're about having healthy relationships and Black, queer, you know, in the Black queer community. And I think it's important because we have not had, you know, role models that we can look at, right? So make time to have heart-to-heart conversations. You know, this is about your relationship ritual. Make time to have a heart-to-heart conversation. Whether you sit down and have a cup of coffee together, or you're just taking time out, you know, even you can even do it on your date night, right? You may not want to be out the house, but you know, because you know, conversations can get real intense sometimes, right? But to be able to have a heart-to-heart conversation. Take time to hear your partners out and to make changes when needed. You know, that's what relationships about. It's not being able to get in a relationship. You know, you're an individual, but you have to make sure that you are, you know, considerate when it comes to your partner. You have to consider some things. Okay. Creating a beautiful space with things that provide a loving and high vibration. Okay, every now and again, you know, I like to light a little incense and have a candle going. It just adds to the ambiance and to the intimacy as well, right? So there's things that you can do to create intimacy, you know, in your home and your life together. And then there's other things, you know, flowers and essential oils and tea time and all that great stuff. And you always seal it with a kiss. You always remember that, you know, this is my love and this is our life together. And so, you know, blessed be. Blessed be. Okay, so last but not least, employ the assistance of coaches and mentors who are experienced and trained and that have your best interests at heart. Okay, so that's what we do. We were on couples coaching, which was a Between Women's show on YouTube. I was gonna ask Michelle Daniel is the producer. I was gonna ask her, you know, for the show's slides or whatever, and see if we can get it back up on YouTube, because we had such a great response with it because it was just so real. Mm-hmm. This being so real. And that's all, folks. That's all. That's all, folks.
So we did have somebody in the chat ask a question earlier on, Stephanie. She said, how do you get past childhood trauma that you thought you healed from now after about 50 or so years? And then we also had a comment from S'mores when you get done.
Okay, I'll let you take that first question.
It's not getting past it. It's more recognizing that's what it is. Trauma is, you just don't shed it. Mm-hmm. You still feel it. Mm-hmm. But the process to heal from childhood trauma is understanding, oh, that's what it is. That's what it is. And you're not blowing up the city in the relationship you know, you're understanding yourself, you're understanding what it comes from, what it stems from. You're able to express this is what it is, without denying the feeling. So you're not pushing that feeling down, you're understanding the feelings that come up.
Yeah, it's not giving up you're no longer giving up your power for it.
Mm.
Right? You begin to still, I mean, it's still like, you know, I'm healing from abandonment issues, right? But when it comes up, you still feel it, but then you recognize that's what's going on, right? You recognize that's what it is. And so when I needed, you know, for my partner to recognize that in me, so that this way she knew it was outside of her. It wasn't within the relationship. It was outside of her. And this created a trauma for me. And this is how, you know, I begin to work through it. Mm-hmm. Okay. And also how your partner sees it, right? Because if you know about it, that means that, you know, you can't use that against somebody. You can't no longer get upset or mad about it because it's something that you know about, right? So what you do is you begin to see it. It's almost like that, you know, that commercial where the woman is going through depression. She has this little black cloud that walks with her. It's something like that, right? You know it's there, but it's outside of you. So this way, when you feel it, you recognize that's what it is. And then you can begin, what I said, alchemize your emotions around it. It no longer takes power from you, but it actually gives you power because you recognize that's what it is. Make sense?
And then, S'mores had a comment she wanted to make. It says, as a person that feels like I'm stuck between generations, y'all are goals, not because of where y'all are, but just by the effort being put forth gives me hope. I work so hard to get me together. So hearing this is really a thing, helps me breathe in my decision to choose me and want someone who understands that. So when we join, we can healthily choose ourselves and each other and build a real authentic relationship.
Yes. Yes. And that's what it's all about. That's what it's all about. Because, I mean, it has been, you know, years of just working on myself and working with my wife together to be able to, you know, fully get to that space of healing. Yeah. That, I mean, and I'm not saying you have to have a romantic relationship to get healed. You can have an intimate friendship.
Your family.
You can have family. Oh my God. Like when you start healing those relationships with your family, you in a whole different ball game. You in a whole different, like, because that's so close to you. It's so close to you. Right? So you have to learn how to manage your own energy and manage that energy that comes from, you know, your family as well. Yeah, I'm working through that one right now. Yep. Did I get all of them?
I think we got to. Was anybody had any more questions? Did anybody want to come off mute really quickly?
I love this. Y'all got a lot of good questions. Look, good comments up here too.
Right, and definitely. So we did see where, if you could put in the chat again where people can find you in case they want to reach out to you for
Sure.
any of the services that you have.
Okay. Anything else, y'all? Anything else come up on your heart that you can you have a question about? There's nothing There's no stupid questions at all.
And we understand if you want to take time to process and definitely they'll be providing, their direct contact information so you reach out. Like I said in the chat, like I've had quite a few sessions and Badoria's gathered me together a couple of times. But I mean, I gathered myself in that and just having someone to be able to talk to. So I definitely suggest everybody reach out. I know we've gone over just a little bit, but I want to make sure that everybody has the information.
Hey, Brittany, if you don't mind, right quick, I will relate what she just said to money. In my experience, this person asked, how, like, you thought you were healed from something, but it comes up again. Like she said earlier, the universe gonna always test you to see, like, you really about what you say about, right? And so every time you overcome those tests, people think that when you get rich, you stay rich forever. No, rich people's, Jeff Bezos could lose $1 million in a day, $1 billion by the end of the year. The test is, can you take what you learned from that experience and be stronger the next time and run with it? Take that negative energy that you used to feel and turn it creative. That's what you've been saying this whole time. Take that negative energy that you used to have and feeling sorry for yourself and feeling shame, and now mold that into the new person that you're becoming and be that example for everybody around you so you can fix those relationships and move forward.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
I learned a lot from y'all. Thank you.
Of course. So before we go, I do want to give Amber a little bit of time to talk about September and what's going on for September for Real Bois Talk, and then I'll do the giveaways, and then we'll go ahead and wrap up because I know we're a little over.
Oh, thank you. Yes, I appreciate everything that you guys have brought to the table. I learned a lot. I always learn a lot from my gay auntie, you guys. And now I have, look, my money friend. She's my new money friend. So definitely, I appreciate that. I appreciate everything that you've given us. I feel like you've given us a nice little starting point on a lot of things. I want everybody to understand the bottom line to everything that they've brought to the table is about you healing and being in the right mindset. And that's important. Before you can do any of the things that these guys have actually talked about, we have to cleanse our mind, cleanse our body, cleanse everything so that we can get those things they're talking about and have those healthy relationships, healthy money relationships, all of that. So I say it's my spiel for that. September, Labor Day weekend, Atlanta Black Pride. As I mentioned, I wear a lot of hats. So as I mentioned earlier, Real Bois Talk is one of the organizers or the organizer with some partners of some other LGBT fraternities and sororities. We put together the LGBT Greek Weekend. So it starts on Thursday, actually starts on Friday, excuse me. Starts on Friday. There is a Greeks Walk the Runway. It's open to the public. We want you guys to be there so that you can see that you have the opportunity. If you've ever wanted to be in a fraternity or sorority, please understand it is not for everyone. If that is something that you've ever desired, there are many organizations that are non-collegiate that you can join and have that brotherhood and that sisterhood and serve your community as well. So those are opportunities for you to get to move at that. And it's also called Rep Your Set. So you're going to get an opportunity to see probate, able to meet and greet these different organizations. We also have, if you are a vendor, great opportunity for you to test out a new product. We have vendor spaces as well. We do a lot. One of the other things that we do is on Saturday, September the 2nd, we do a brunch for our LGBT Greek sororities and fraternities. What that is an opportunity. These guys work their behinds off all year to help shape our community, to help give us voices, for us to make sure that the things that are happening to us right now as LGBT individuals in the community, so we can, like laws, they're on political levels, they're on all kinds of levels to make our community a little bit better. So please note, these organizations are fighting. And every year, I put together a brunch for them. Say thank you, because if you are in nonprofit, you understand it's a thankless job. And even though we feed the hungry, even though we mend the wounded, even though we might, hug those that just need a hug, it's still a thankless job. Okay. And so these guys work really hard. I like to say thank you to them so they have a brunt. If you are a nonprofit and you want to have, and you need volunteers, you're working on a new project, please go to I put the LGBTGreekWeekend.com on there. There's a spot called 5 Minutes Community Speak. We'll give you 5 minutes to talk about your organization, tell what you do, and get these guys to be involved in it as well. These organizations are across the country. So your voice is a nice marketing opportunity as well. So we do those things. One of the things that Benny did not tell y'all, next Friday, this conversation that you've heard, we're going to take it to a whole nother level. We have studs and films. They're going to be talking about subject matters that I might, as a stud or masculine presenting, I see it one way and our films see it another way. How can we work to make sure that we are on the same level so that what the gay aunties have talked about, having these healthy relationships and finding space for our partners and stop being silly and stop doing stupid shit, relationships, and get the boo-boo out of the dating pool, please, somebody. So that's what we're going to be doing then. I think I've done it before. Many years ago, as a matter of fact, when great aunties talked about Michelle Daniels and between women, her and I did an event called Studs versus Film, and it was that same thing. We put the topic out there, and the viewpoints of one topic so different from what Studs saw that viewpoint and what Film saw that viewpoint. So we have to be able to take what gay aunties have talked about today. We're going to put it on the table next week on some topics and see how we see things.
I'm so excited.
So there's an opportunity for you guys to get that education as well. And once again, if you like what you've heard tonight, please let Brittany know. Please let her know, because the biggest thing is we can do a part 2. We can always do a part 2. Okay. Even if you are going to attend the event on next Friday, if you like what you're hearing there, we can do a part 2. Okay. Because we want to keep conversations. I'm learning. A friend of mine who's very close to me now said communication is everything. I never thought about it like that. It's like, okay,
Everything.
I might say something, I might not. And like you said, there is that point where I might suck it in and not say nothing. Then my voice doesn't get heard with my partner. And it becomes a habit. And that's a no. So we do have to understand it and really work on communication. So there's that aspect as well. So I say all of that to say that Real Bois Talk is for our African-American masculine identified presenting gay females out here. We have health disparities. I'm gonna tell you this, my fellow studs, go get them breast checked. Go get those go get those pap smears. I know it's traumatic. I know it is. Put your legs in the stirrup. Can you come a little closer? Get it. I struggle with it myself.
I'm trying to tell you.
Anxiety is high, guys, but you must do it. You can't be a sexy masculine presenting. You don't take care of that film body. Okay? Please go out there and do that. That is the biggest thing I want to leave y'all with today, because that's also a part of being healthy with your relationship as well. All right? That's all I got.
I want to say something to that real quick if I can. Like, I think, like, I've been mass presenting since, dude, even in a skirt, I was that dude. You feel me? Like, it just was something about just taking the role of men in general, because I guess it was dropped so much in my life, and perfecting it in a way that women were safe. Because no matter what, to me, that was always my priority. Like, I'm not mass presented because I'm always going to talk with a deep voice, or sometimes it come out. Sometimes I'm a Scorpio, so the soft Drake come out and the hard Drake come out. It just depends on who you got that day. However, the need to take care of women, and I always say, I know I'm a female. Now I know what it means. Before I used to push it, she was like, nah. But it's not that I don't know I'm a female. I just don't identify with female issues. And why I say that is, you can't put me and my sister in the same situation and we both coming out the same way. Love her to death. She is a female. It's let me get an umbrella. Let me get a knife. I'm going to get the strap. Like, he gonna fight me. You feel me? It's gonna be one of those type of situations because in my mind, I know what it takes, you know. But also, like being traumatized and stuff, it led to the doctor being a very scary place for me. But I'm very open with my doctor because listen, man, when you go down there, I'm bound to cry. I'm bound to do something because I had PTSD and I learned early on that my triggers took me to that place. So like I went to hospitals and stuff and they wasn't able to restrain me. It was in my chart because it did more harm to me than it did help. So again, as a kid, didn't understand what all this is, but now that I'm working on myself, I'm able to articulate those things. So like I had to have surgery because I had fibroids. Now in order to detect everything, they had to do vaginal ultrasounds. When I tell you it paused and tears down my face, but I knew I needed to do what I needed to do for my body. And it was just like, you know, because it's the giving up control, it's the not being able to see what's happening, it's the thought that it's in somebody else's hand. Whether I don't care, I never get a male doctor, but still, you can't have that control, you know what I mean? But I do stress the fact that it's so important, like just getting my nails and feet done, things that I didn't even consider. I'm from New York, love constructions. Those shit did damages to my feet. Like, you understand what I'm saying? But as I got older, and it's like, you know, now my family's like, oh, are you changing? No. But the glow is different. Like I attract now women, not little girls who think it's a gender role, who think I'm supposed to play this part in order to be, because now women understand if you take care of your insides and your outsides, you can take care of us as a whole. And I had to learn that. And that's the difference. Like, that's why I say, like, my generation of being in between generations. Like, I came right in when Masc was like, oh, you could only be a boy. You had to look as manly as possible so nobody could judge you. They hopefully think you're a boy so the discrimination wasn't there. Or now in this generation where honestly, sometimes they're a little too soft. They got some rules they're willing to bend. That's fine. To each his own. However, and being in between it, I'm learning what actually fits for me and to me. And all that really ultimately matter is I've already stood 10 toes in my ground. It's like when I ran the streets. If you know me, you know me. If you know, you know. However, now I'm learning to take care of me where my beauty and everything comes from a different level. Because once you really do that for yourself, like how you sending a girl to spend $300 to get her feet done and your toes when she get in the bed with you is scratchy. Like that's crazy to me. Like you understand what I'm saying? But you thought it was right to send her to get her nails done with $300 and big niche. You out here, you wearing boxes with pads and no panties. So now you chafing down there. It make sense. They got Tommy Boy underclothes that still give you the masculine feel, but it's fitted enough to wear your proper products. Like I never used to wear pads, but after my surgery, I had to learn to adapt because I couldn't put nothing up there for a while. But at the same time, it was just like in that process, I had to learn in a way that made me feel comfortable. And like people are not willing to explore those options because they either scared, worried about the stigma behind it and stuff. So that's why I'm so excited. Like I invited like all of my family and stuff to this event next week. And like they're really straight and like they get a lot of information from me or they bank on some things I said when I was younger and grown. Yeah. And like I know their eyes are about to be open, but I wanted them to hear it from multiple people because it doesn't change who I am. Trust me. When I get in there in that room, whatever, trust me, she knows exactly who I am. It doesn't matter. However, I know who I am in a way where now knowing who I am does not hinder me from being all I need to be in this world. So when you said that, it was exactly what hit it on the nail. Like, yes.
Awesome, awesome. So thank you so much for being vulnerable and talking about that. And yes, this is actually one of the panel's members for next week. So she's going to be on there. I'm going to be moderating. So it's going to be really dope. I'm going to ask some really hard hitting questions. We definitely going to talk about some things. And this is going to be really good. So before I let everybody go, I want to make sure we do the giveaways and then we'll do our final goodbyes. But thank you again. And I'll definitely make sure it is a virtual event, Jay Patrice, next week. So it is another thing that you can kind of log into. It is on the 30th, so June 30th, I believe 8 o'clock is when it starts, Eastern Standard Time, I believe. You correct me on it. But I'll basically, I have everybody's email address because you got received the link for tonight. So I'll make sure to send that information to you. So keep a lookout on your emails here, probably in the next day. I'll be able to send that out tomorrow. So while I'm doing that, let me go ahead and get this name generator. So we're gonna do giveaway number 2. And actually, it looks like S'mores, you got it. So you got one of them. So thank you. See, look, that's the universe basically thanking you for being vulnerable.
Yes.
So you
Look
got
at that.
that's that. And then we're gonna start with our last one. So let's see who we got. Who we got. All right. So J.H. and J. Hamilton is gonna be our third person. So everybody, I need to, if you're a winner, which we do have our results here. So we have our 3 winners here. I need you to send me your email through chat so I can get your address information if you're not local to Atlanta, or if you are local to Atlanta, I can meet you as well. So I can send that out to you. And again, so we'll have all of that given out. So I'm really excited about that. So we also have the flyer in the chat as well for next week. It's called Lavender Diaries, Sub versus Femmes. So again, I just want to thank our speakers so much. Thank you so much for coming through and sharing your time with us, kind of talking to us, giving those pearls of wisdom. I encourage everybody that is in here to make sure that you follow them on all their platforms and reach out to them, because definitely way more information can be given. And yes, please, any feedback you have about tonight and what we're doing, I'm taking all of that because I really want to make sure that this type of thing is accessible to everybody. So if you enjoyed this, tell your friends, the people that missed out on it. We're going to definitely do more of these. So I just want to thank everybody again for coming out tonight. I know we kind of went over a little bit, but I think it was important. Thank you again.
It was wonderful, Brittany. We enjoyed it as always. Thank you so much. Thank you for being a representative in the community because it's important. So thank you. Blessings.
Thank you so much.
Mhm.
Everybody have a great evening. Drink your water before you go to bed. Make sure, set your intentions, be present tonight. Decompress and everything. Have an excellent evening, and I will be reaching out to the winners and everybody else within the next day. Have a great night, everyone.